Welcome to Tech Bytes Q&A Corner, tech questions answered daily. This is our drop-in stream where we answer questions for you about tech, or you just listen to us talk about tech for a little while. So Q&A Corner is part of our Tech Byte series. So Tech Bytes, bite-sized tech talks for teens. I love alliteration. If you're interested in checking out what Tech Bytes is about, we do workshops every week, talks. This afternoon we're doing one at 2 o'clock by our friends over at the White Hatter on leveraging social media for jobs and education and all the rest of that fun stuff. So definitely worth checking out at 2 o'clock today. On the call today, we have the one, the only, the Danny Briggs. And Danny, I don't know if you can see your face right now if you're watching yourself on the live stream, but it is a giant version of your face and a very small version of mine. But I am also able to put us into the next scene where it's a giant version of my face and a small version of yours. Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew, and I'm the voice behind the camera here at UVic today. I'm going to let Danny, I'm going to put Danny front and center again, and then Danny, maybe you just want to introduce yourself to people on the stream. And like I said, folks, throw your information in the chat if you're interested in chatting. And yeah, we're excited to have everybody here just kind of checking out Q&A Corner. Over to you, Danny.
Hi, everyone. My name is Danny Briggs. I'm a senior technical analyst with the Greater Victoria Public Library. I'm also a mentor with the HighTechU program, and I'm very excited to be here today to answer any and all of your questions that I'm able to answer.
All right, so let's jump into it because I always like with these calls just to kind of start things off with maybe a little bit about your journey into tech. And I know you've been asked this a lot by me, so please thank you, Danny, for always being willing to answer this question, which I appreciate. So I'm wondering, what was your journey into tech?
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. I really love telling this story, and I do so at every opportunity. So I'm never bothered when you ask. My background is, I've always been interested in computers and technology. My first machine was pulled out of a dumpster behind a computer store in the small town that I grew up in, and lovingly restored. I don't have like any formal education or anything like that. So I kind of always thought that a career in technology was something that I would have a really hard time getting into. My first real job was an order picker for a natural foods warehouse out in Langford. And one year over the Christmas break, when our system administrator was off on holidays and all of our technical people were away, one of the servers, the print server, failed, and we weren't able to print any pick tickets, and work had kind of ground to a halt, and no one knew what to do. And being that I was young and kind of cocky and knew a little bit about computers, I volunteered to take a look. And so I did I went and I checked it out, and by sheer dumb luck, I rebooted the right machine, fixed the printers, saved Christmas, and then when we were back in the office after New Year's, the system administrator decided that we probably should have someone else on site who knew how these things worked. And since I guessed the right machine, it may as well be me. So from there, I kind of just leveraged on-the-job experience, coupled with learning new technologies that interested me, and continued my career path in that direction, just with on-the-job training and learning things at home.
That's awesome. I love this. Everybody comes to these things from like different kind of cool locations, which I'm always super excited about. Like there's no one pathway into technology, which is super cool. So Danny, what would you say is it has been the coolest part about the different jobs that you've had in tech?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think my favorite tech job that I've had to date was working for a local company here in Victoria called Latitude Geographics. The thing that I really, really enjoyed about that job, it was after one of my other system administration roles, and it was kind of I was feeling very burnt out, and I wanted something that was a little bit more relaxing and a little bit more customer focused, so that I could see people that I was helping and watch watching them, watching the happy reactions as their problems got fixed. So I took this job as a support analyst, which was basically just fixing software for people. The software that Latitude makes that I was primarily supporting was GIS mapping software. So the people would take like their geospatial data, maps and all kinds of geographical data, and our product helped them to lay it out in a it was a very friendly way of making these very feature-rich maps. And the thing that I loved the most about that job, aside from being able to help so many people with their problems and help them fix these things, was seeing all the absolutely cool things that people were making with these maps. Like we had people who were using them, just like local municipalities making maps for their citizens that illustrated the local parks and features and things like that, all the way up to people using it for incident response and like emergency services, and people using it for scientific stuff as well, tracking weather events and polar bear migration habits was one that I heard we were doing. I never got to help with that one personally, but I hear that was something that we were doing that was pretty cool. So I think that was would be my favorite that I ever got a chance to work on.
Nice. So if you're just jumping onto the call, so I'm just going to do a nice shout out right now to Angela for asking our first, second question. So this is our most viewers, by the way. I'm super excited. We've got 7 viewers live right now, which is super exciting. And then we've had some questions, so thanks for asking those questions. Welcome, Angela, as well as all of the other awesome people who are on the stream right now. My name's Andrew. In the far corner down... Wait, hold on. My fingers are not used to this camera. Down here. This way. This way. Down here in this corner. This is Danny. Danny Briggs, who is our awesome mentor on the call today to answer all of your interesting tech-related questions. And if nothing else, just we're going to talk a little bit about sort of our experiences in tech and his experiences in tech and some cool projects. And we're just hearing about kind of some cool stuff that's it's been going on in Danny's life. So Danny, you have this kind of unique thing that you've worked for kind of all different levels and sizes, and you worked for a startup called Stocksy United. And so for any of the artistic people in the house, you might have heard of Stocksy. Stocksy is, and correct me if I'm wrong what this is, Danny, so they're like a repository for photos for photographers, and you can purchase through Stocksy copies of this, so the photographers and artists get a commission, and then Stocksy makes some money, and then people can buy images. Is that right?
That's basically right. Yeah, there was a number of different licensing models, so it's a little more complicated, but that's the general gist of it. We provided a platform for artists to sell their stock photography, and we did it in such a way that it was a lot more fair to the artists and to the creative people who were doing this stuff than some of the bigger companies out there would give them, Getty and such.
So how did you end up there? You were saying kind of your journey, and I'm just kind of filling in some new people that have come on the call. So you ended up in tech kind of through a weird pathway. How did you end up at Stocksy with no kind of formal computer science experience?
Yeah, so that was a good example of just sort of leveraging skills that I had learned on the job. The role there was for a junior IT administrator, and they were looking for someone to basically just manage the computers and the stuff at the office, and it seemed like a good fit. It was all stuff that I was pretty comfortable doing. I think I did pretty well in the interview, and that was. That was about it for that one, I think.
Sorry, I'm just on the chat right now.
No, that's okay.
We got another person in there. I think the Lachlan that we have on the call is Lachlan, our ambassador Lachlan, and I'm just gonna wait because the stream will catch up in just a second because there's a little bit of a delay on there. So we'll see if he answers in the chat. So, hello, Lachlan. I'm glad that you are here. And if it is a different Lachlan, hello, different Lachlan. We are now, again, we're still at seven viewers, which I'm super excited about. I cannot tell you, this is such an exciting opportunity. I love when we not only double and triple our numbers, but when we quadruple the number of peepers that are on the calls. It's always easy to do when you're at small numbers, but it gets exponentially harder once you get higher. So Danny, my next question that I have for you is, you kind of came in through a different pathway. So if there's people that are out there that are like, oh, I don't really know if I want to like risk it by not going to school. Like, do you still think that there's value in people going through and doing the traditional pathway? And if they are, what's maybe something they can do to kind of get the same kind of experience that you had as you had to sort of teach yourself all this stuff?
Oh, that's a really good question. So one of the things that I see, like that comes up as I don't want to say an argument, but a discussion point very often in a lot of the communities that I'm in, and there is no really good consensus on it. I think a lot of the old school people are very insistent that you won't get anywhere without a degree, and a lot of the newer people are, of the opinion that you don't really need it as much. My 2 cents, and again, I'm super biased here because I don't have a degree or any formal education, is that in my experience, having passion and drive for the things that you're working on and for the stuff that you want to do takes you a lot farther, I think, than having a formal degree. That's not to say that if you have the resources and the time available to you, that taking the courses and getting a degree or a certification is a bad thing. That's actually a very good thing, especially if you're not sure that the thing you're going into is something you're going to want to proceed with. Like, it's a good way to sort of feel things out. I've got a whole bunch of certification paths that I've started and then halfway through have realized, oh wait, hold on, this isn't what I thought it was. This is no fun at all. And they were very valuable in that sense. I've got 1 or 2 that I'm very close to finishing that I want just to say I have a certificate, but that's the main motivation for them. I haven't run into anything yet personally where like the degree or the cert is a requirement for the role I want.
So what's your favorite or I guess maybe not favorite, but the one that you're most interested in? You said you're close to finishing up a couple of them. What's the one that's kind of that you're closest to finishing?
So right now I'm working on a CompTIA certification called Security Plus, which is just a sort of generic vendor-neutral IT security certification. It's considered a baseline for a lot of jobs. I think if you want to work government security, I know in the States it's a requirement for a lot of jobs. I don't know about Canada. And the main reason I want that one is just because I kind of feel like at this point I've bought so many books on it and sat through so many courses that it's just a point of personal pride that I want to finish it. The reason I started working on that one originally was because I looked at all the various exams and stuff that were out there for the security field, which is something I'm interested in, and that was the cheapest. That was the entire motivation. CompTIA, I think, is really good if you're looking for something on a sort of introductory level that looks good on a resume, but isn't a huge money sink or a huge time sink.
Nice. Okay, so I've got a question. I've got an officially submitted anonymous question, which I'm also super excited about. Hold on. People can't see me because I got rid of myself. Let me go to the next scene. Oh, no, that's not what you want to see. Okay, now you can see me and Danny down there. Ooh, I'm getting better at this. Okay, so the question is for you, Danny. Has the situation with COVID-19 changed your workload or work-life balance, or was it easy to adapt to working remotely?
Oh, that's a really good question. Something I've been thinking about a lot. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm working at the Greater Victoria Public Library right now, and a lot of our systems are, of course, public facing, which limits when we're allowed to do maintenance and when we're allowed to, make changes and things like that. And obviously, right now, since 100% of our users are coming from the digital space, we're trying very, very hard to not make any changes or do anything that's going to negatively impact that experience. In regards to all of the staff-based systems, I'm very much looking forward to upgrading all of these critical things that we were not able to upgrade previously because everybody was using them. So it's good in that regard from a sysadmin sense, because we've got a lot more time and leeway and ability to make these changes and to improve these systems. But it's definitely challenging. One thing that I learned when I was working at Stocksy, which was a very remote-friendly environment, is that I personally do not work well remotely at all. I'm very easily distracted, and working at home is not my most efficient way of working. That being said, it's we use lots of tools and lots of check-ins and things to keep people on track, and to have that support structure there. If you need to reach out to someone, they're generally available. The one other thing I'll mention is I think a lot of companies will tell you the same thing here. It happened, the whole situation happened rather suddenly. So it was a very stressful first couple of weeks getting, all of these people who suddenly had to work remotely all set up for that. But it was a good learning experience, and I think we handled it really well.
Nice. So that was an awesome question. Thank you very much for sending that question our way. Who was that sent that question? Awesome, Lachlan. So I'd love for the people that are on the chat right now, just because this is obviously our third live stream, I feel like we're getting better on our quality, but I'm interested if people have any sort of feedback on the quality of the stream. So we're streaming from a different location today, and I'm just curious whether people are liking the quality, they're not liking the quality, what we can do to maybe make it even better. So feel free to send us a chat message and just sort of say, hey, I love the quality, I think it's amazing, or like, hey, you could do this differently. That's definitely what the chat's there for. We want to know what we're doing and what we can do better. So thank you all for attending and on the feedback. And we still got seven viewers, even though I'm one of them, which is okay. There's still 6 that are there. So my next question that I have for you, Danny, is you keep talking about things like sysadmin. So what is a sysadmin?
So a system administrator is a person who administers systems.
that is the best answer.
Yeah, no, it's that came across more cheeky than I meant it to. That's a tricky thing to define, because you're going to find that each organization is going to have a sort of different definition for it. At Stocksy, I was a sysadmin, but I was writing scripts and writing. I wrote a little bit of code for our AWS infrastructure. Like it was what I would consider to be a more technical sysadmin role compared to, for example, my first role, where I was also a sysadmin, but I was largely, fixing printers and provisioning workstations. So to answer your question, I think a sysadmin is just generally someone who takes care of a company network, either individually or as part of a team, and make sure that the business is able to continue and use technology in an empowering way.
Nice, I like that. That's a very nice way to define sysadmin. Yeah, and so welcome. I noticed that we've got a new person on the call, so welcome, Michaela. Michaela was also here on our first call on Monday, so I'm very curious, Michaela. I am figuring out how to use our streaming service a little bit better, and now we've got backgrounds, and it's not just a white screen and many big faces. It's still big faces, but slightly different sizes. How did you start the White Hatter? Oh, so Danny's not with a White Hatter. That's our call later this afternoon, but a great question. So yeah, if you're interested in our session this afternoon, so at 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, where our partner organization, the White Hatter, is going to be doing a session on how to leverage the internet and social media, basically to be awesome and own the internet. I think when we talked about the session, it was like owning Google's front page by leveraging things, and it's like how you can leverage it for jobs and employment and education and all these other things. So that's going to be at 2:00. We're not streaming it here. We're actually going to be streaming it over on our Twitch channel, and we're going to actually be streaming it live on Twitch and Periscope. Not Facebook Live yet, but we may actually. I found out that we can stream on YouTube Live, which is really exciting. So we might actually even get it set up for YouTube Online. We'll see how our stream on 2 services goes. But yeah. So if you're tuning in, this is Danny Briggs, sorry, wrong way. Yeah, I'm in the corner now. There we go. So this is Danny Briggs. Danny is awesome, and Danny is a system administrator with the Greater Victoria Public Library, formerly of Stocksy United, which is a startup here in Victoria, formerly of Latitude Geographics, formerly of many awesome places here in Victoria. So yeah, if you've got questions about anything tech related, like jobs and just like what's involved, any like actual like burning tech questions that you have. Earlier, Danny and I were talking about a really cool platform that's kind of hard to navigate called AWS, which is Amazon's like cool services. So if you've got some technical questions, then please send them our way. All right, we're looking in the chat. I'm feeling this. I'm really feeling this. We finally got it figured out.
It's a lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah, this is good. I'm very glad to have upgraded, though. So I was saying to Danny earlier, if you're just coming on the stream, so our stream yesterday, the other day, was streamed from my home, where I have a 1 megabyte per second upload speed, versus here in the office where I'm streaming with I think 100 megabytes per second speed. So we've gone from uploading, I think I had it set at like 500 kilobytes per second to now we're at 4,000 kilobytes per second of data that's going through and no dropped frames. So the quality should be beautiful. I'm really feeling like I need to get into gaming though. I feel like this could be I feel like I can do live streams. This may be my future if HighTechU doesn't work out. All right, let's see if there's any more questions that have popped up in our Q&A. All right, so that one was answered. Okay, so that's back to Lachlan. So Michaela's still on the call, asking some questions. Thanks for the clarification. You're welcome. Okay, Danny, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a screen share because what I did yesterday was I actually went on with our mentor who was on the call and we went into like the online project hub and I was like, I'm like, choose your favorite project that you've seen in HighTechU, and then we'll kind of look at some of the project hub pieces that are there. Are you ready?
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great.
Ooh, awesome. We'll wait because Lachlan's got a question. We'll go to Lachlan's question, then we'll take a look at that stuff. So Lachlan's question is, how do you keep your skills up to date? Do you proactively take different courses online, or do you just teach yourself specific new skills when needed?
That's a really good question. I like that. So the short answer is it depends. At the beginning of the call, I mentioned that passion is like the most important thing. So I've got sort of 2 sets of skills, I think, that I kind of work on improving. The first one is, something that's applicable to the job that I'm in, because obviously you want to, maintain your value and help the business succeed with the applications they're using. To that end, I am learning way more about integrated library systems than I ever thought I would know. But on the other end of the spectrum too, there's personal projects and things that, are maybe not things that would fit in with the job that you're doing, but are things that you're really passionate about that, you want to learn just because you think they're really cool. One of the areas that I've always been super crazy interested in is a technology called virtualization, which you may or may not have heard of. And the premise is basically basically taking a physical computer and splitting it into smaller virtual computers, and then you've basically got a way to you can create a network or like a whole bunch of servers or a very complex environment with a very small piece of with a very small piece of machinery. That's something that may not necessarily be applicable to the job that I'm doing now, but it's still something I want to keep sharp just because it interests me. I think does that answer your question?
Let's see.
I'm just tabbing over to read it here. Oh yeah. In regards to like taking courses and stuff online, yes, absolutely. If if there's a technology you want to learn and that's the best way if that's the way that works for you for learning, I'll totally take a course. One thing that I will mention, because this is different for everybody and it's important to kind of recognize how you learn best, is I can as I mentioned, like I've subscribed to courses and stuff like that, but that's really not how I learn. I'm very hands-on, so like in my case, when I have a new technology that I want to learn, I will physically spin up a virtual machine and install that technology and break it and fix it and try to build something out of it to teach myself. That's not going to work for everybody, of course. Some people will, go to a bookstore and buy a book, or will watch a course or a video, or try to get certified. It's all about how you learn. Hopefully that answers it.
Awesome. And then I don't know if you saw. I'm gonna make sure that people can see me again. I don't know if you saw, Danny, but there was another question from Michaela that appeared right underneath there.
Oh, I did see that. That's a good question too. Thank you so much. Favorite part of my career. Well, as I mentioned, I've always been into technology, and it's weird to describe, but I get a real rush fixing things, like and being able to understand these complicated systems with all these moving parts. It's like just knowing how all of this stuff that's so important to our society works it's just an amazing thing. The other part of that I'll mention too, that I really have gotten an appreciation for over the years, is just like I'm a textbook people pleaser. I like making people happy, and one of the ways that I can do that is by helping them to solve their complex computing problems. I get a real satisfied feeling when someone when I'm able to help someone resolve an issue. So that's probably that's probably my very favorite part. My very least favorite part, no job is perfect, and I could probably think of a few for this, but I think my very least favorite part is meetings. That's all very organization dependent too. Some places are super into meetings, and you'll have them every single day, and it's for me anyway, it's stressful, because like there's nothing worse than standing up in front of a group of your peers and saying, I worked on nothing yesterday because I was stuck on this technical problem and I couldn't figure it out, and it just feels bad. Meetings have their places, and of course they're important. But if I could, do away with one thing in my career, it would be meetings.
Awesome. Thank you for that awesome question, Michaela. Danny is back down in the corner down. Oh, here. I need to figure this thing out, or just change the corner so my fingers are pointing the right way. This way. There we go.
Yeah, I think lower right.
There we go. It's just like this whole mirrored thing is very tough to figure out. Also, the lag on this video that I'm watching is pretty fantastic. So we still got 5 viewers on the call with us. Hopefully, maybe you're new, maybe you're not. We are here with Danny Briggs. Danny Briggs. Danny is a system administrator with the Greater Victoria Public Library, formerly of lots of awesome Greater Victoria tech startups. Feel free to throw your question in the anonymous Q&A. You can also throw it in the chat and ask us questions there. But what we're going to do now is we're actually going to switch things up a little bit. And I am going to do a little bit of walkthrough of HighTechU's portfolio website, and you can take a look at some of the projects. And Danny's going to say which is his favorite from the many years of us doing this. So going to give me just a second, and there's going to be some weird things that happen for you folks on the stream here, but don't fret. It will all work out in the end. So we're going to jump over to here, jump over to our call. That's not where we want to go. We want to go over to there. Awesome. Then go there and full screen and save. And now we're going to do a screen share. Share your screen. Oh, we can't do a screen share. That's so depressing. Thank you, Slack, for not letting us do this. So, Danny, what I'm going to do is, do you want to go? I'm going to share a link with you. And then let's see if you come back on here. I think I might just need to play around with this for a second because you are a black screen. So I need to fix that. Let's get Danny back. Slack. There he is. Danny's back. He's here. So Danny, if you want to just go to hightechu.github.io/portfolio, you'll be able to see what I'm walking people through to look at, and you can kind of follow along there since you, or you can watch the stream and see what I'm doing, but it's a little bit behind. And I'm just going to jump over to this view over here, which is the awesomeness of the website. Can I actually like scroll in here? That would be really cool. No, I can't. Nope, I can't do it. Yeah, so I'm gonna bring up our view right here. So, oh, that's not the right one. So you should all be able to see my screen. You can kind of check out what's going on over here. This is obviously our website. If you're a new member, you're welcome to obviously apply. So it's just clicking this link here, and it will give you a PDF that you can fill out completely online. And you can fill this out, become a member, and then that grants you access to regular updates about stuff that's going on with HighTechU, including this thing right here, which is our members portal, which has lots of things, including links to our resource hub and our members calendar. And I don't think it's actually on there anymore, but if you go to hightechu.github.io/portfolio, then you will get this awesome site. And what's really cool about this is all of the projects that have ever been created by HighTechU members, which I think is pretty cool. And I kind of just want to talk about, like, maybe, Danny, some of your favorites over the years, like things that you've really liked, projects that you thought have been really cool. Yeah, so is there any projects that you remember from over the years that have really kind of stuck out for you?
Totally, yeah. This is a fairly recent one, but one of the things that I think the HighTechU has always tried to do is the projects that students come up with have to be, things that make a difference in your community. And even though it was really recent, I think the naloxone map one was really cool. Like that was a really interesting idea. The MVP that they came up with, it's really good. Like it does what I would describe as a minimum viable product. And it's got real world applications, which is really neat. That's not to say the other projects don't. It just that's one that's always kind of stuck out with me. Totally.
So I've got the naloxone map app up. So here's the great thing: if you're on this call, this is openly accessible to you. You can look at this at any point. All of these things are freely accessible. That you can go and check out the demos online. So I've got the naloxone map up. So it's kind of like if you come in and take a look at this, that MVP. What is that MVP thing that you're talking about for people that are on the call that maybe don't know what that is?
For sure, yeah. MVP stands for minimum viable product. There were some slides at the beginning of the cohorts that explained this way better than I could. But the general concept is, if you're building a rocket ship, maybe don't start with a rocket ship. Maybe start with just the frame, or like just the sorry, not the frame. That's the wrong way to put it. But maybe start with a plane, like something that gets off the ground, and then you can iterate on it later and add more features going forward. there are a lot of it's really easy when you're building something to get like bogged down in the details, and if you do that, you're going to find yourself in that feature creep thing where you're constantly adding features and doing all these things that are going to make it really cool when it launches, but that's you've only got so many weeks to do this in, right? If you're spending all your time building features, you're not going to have anything to show on release day. So it's the notion of just doing the bare minimum to get the framework in place, and then giving you something to iterate on later.
Nice. Very well put, Danny. So I have added you now to the live stream. So you've got a window in a corner because we are obviously Q&A corner. So the Q&A person should be in the corner. I've got the naloxone map app open, and I'm just going to kind of go through each of the sections, and maybe you can do the same on your device and talk about what's going on in there. So just on the emergency section. So I don't know, do you remember kind of what happened at each of these things?
Yeah, so I think it was a fairly... Oh, hold on. Bear with me just a second here. I meant to open it, and that didn't quite open. Oh, there's the link. Yeah, so if I remember correctly, it was a very straightforward, step-by-step explanation of, like, there's an emergency. What do I do? It made it very clear of all of the steps that you should follow, and I think these were based on like the recommendations from like the blanking on the name, but like from the what to do in an emergency where someone is overdosing. So it's very informative and very easy to follow along with.
Awesome. And I was just realizing that people couldn't actually see a lot of this stuff because my window was not open as much as it should have been. So there we go. So people should be able to see a little bit more of that now. So basically when you go into this site, you can go to like the first step. So the emergency step, which is just at the very top. So you click emergency, and then it literally walks you through step by step. And then of course the first one is calling 911. So this is this button would be, as it grows out, would be attached to an actual phone number, because this is meant to be run on your phone, and then you can just follow through on the steps, and you'll notice at the very top, like all these bars like keep increasing, so you can see how far you're through and how long you have left, and it actually gives you like the steps you need to do. You can keep following through the steps, and then what's really cool is the focus on this app is it allows you to sort of show your location. So what's popping up right now is like a know your location thing, and then I can allow for it to know where I am on this map so that it can find the kits that are closest to me depending on where I'm located in the city, which is pretty cool. And I think that might have been hidden. That window might have been hidden behind Danny's head, so I apologize that. But there was a button that I clicked on behind Danny's head that allowed you to see the location. And then it just sort of walks you through each of those instructions, And then with our application, you can also go in and register new locations if you're a registered user. You can see there's a frequently asked questions page, which is really cool. So you can actually go in there and you can see like how, like this is a really important page, obviously. So like how do you register the naloxone kit? What should you do if it doesn't? And it's great because they've got like different email addresses in there. Just gives you lots of different really important pieces of information for whenever you're using this application to go. Yeah, so that's this one, and then what else do we have? And then settings. So there's some different administrator settings that are in here that they built into the application, which is really cool. And then location settings, lots of really cool stuff that's happening in there. Now I'm just looking, and it seems like the stream has frozen, but it might be just because I tried to turn up to a higher resolution. So let me just refresh the page and see. And if we are still streaming, I apologize to everybody that's on the call. Just making sure that everything is good to go. Okay, awesome. It is there and everything is working. So there was another question. So Michaela asked, what is the application used for? So great question. Danny?
So I think I'm pronouncing this wrong, but naloxone is it's an injectable substance. I'm totally blanking on the words here. I apologize. But it's designed for people who are overdosing on, I believe, opioids, which is a bit of a problem in Victoria right now. So this application helped the user to find nearby kits and provided a way for people to register where they had them. So, for example, if you're working downtown at a software development company, and in your first aid kit you have one of these kits, you could register yourself, and then if there's an emergency outside, someone could fire up this application and know where the nearest kit was to hopefully help save a life.
That's a very well put statement. I love it. Okay, what else do we got? So we've got, let me jump back over to the portfolio and then open that window back on our page here. So Danny's back. Andrew's back. And if you're just joining us, if you just jumped on the call, my name is Andrew. Up in this, hold on, I need to see where you are. Up in this corner, on the far corner up there, where my arm is reaching to, is Danny. Danny is a HighTechU mentor, also a system administrator who works for Greater Victoria Public Library, formerly of lots of really cool tech startups here in Victoria. Right now we're taking a look at some of the past projects that were done at HighTechU. And so, we were just talking about the Victoria naloxone map, which is a really cool app built this year by a number of our youth. What about any from last year? Do you remember any of these ones from last year, Danny, that were sort of in here? So like open space down to, I guess, gigs.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through them here. I think the one that stands out to me was the AutoGenda one. I think if I remember right, last year, I might have this wrong too, because I don't remember super specifically, but I think the mentors last year were assigned to specific groups. And if I'm remembering right, I think I was in the AutoGenda group. It's been a while, and I don't quite recall. But that was a pretty cool one too. If I remember right with that, the concept was you sort of created time blocks for yourself. So like from the hours of 4 to 5, I'm doing schoolwork, and from the hours of like 9 to 7, I'm sleeping or whatever. And maybe I've got work on Saturdays at 9 to 5. I think the idea behind it was to sort of automate that, automate your calendar and help you find time slots to hang out with friends. So like if you and your friend had a free block between like 9 and 10 in the morning, maybe there's some time in there to go do something fun.
Danny, you're rocking it for being on the spot, man.
You're
killing it. No, you're killing it. It's funny because if you open it, it's like, what is AutoGenda? And that was a very good description. So it is a tool made to streamline your day, whether it comes to making plans with friends or just for yourself. We have you covered. AutoGenda is made to help you smoothly plan and arrange your schedule, or your friends if you'd like. Learn about local events around you, explore your city and yourself with others. Keep planning simple. So I'll just kind of, do you have to register? I know these buttons don't work, but they'd set this up. But maybe I'll go in here and register because I know it deletes everything. So let's create, what's my name? HighTechU, Andrew at hightechu.ca. I'm going to make my username HighTechU. I'm going to make my password something secret because you never give anybody your password. Whoops, that's not good. Did you just see that, Danny? So it doesn't hash your password.
Oh no,
that's embarrassing. Okay, so this is not a good thing to do. But it does have
in the interest of minimum viable product, it is out there fast, right? They can iterate on that later and mask the password field.
True. So please do not log in to the account that I create on AutoGenda. But they did add a verify password field, and I wonder if that actually works. Let me see. America. I don't even know. How do you register it? There's no actual create an account button.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure actually. You know what it might have been? I think they created the login page, but didn't they actually hook it into anything?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I definitely just gave away a fake password that didn't matter. Okay, yeah, so if you go in there, if you're in AutoAgenda, if you just like click on the login button, it'll just like bring you right in.
Perfect.
Okay, so there we go. This is not good security, by the way, everybody. Yeah, so basically you're able to go in here and there are like events that have been created, but you can click on one of these times here and you can say like, oh, I'm going to sleep during that time. I'm going to be at school during that time. I'm going to work during that time. I think this white one was like free time. Oh, no, it was nothing. It was just they filled that space. So yeah, you can like set all these times. And then as a friend, you would be able to go in there and do the same thing. And then basically just, you'd be able to figure out times that everybody's available. So I think it was a pretty cool app. Like, again, it wasn't worked into the back end. This was very much a front end project, but still pretty cool, like that they did this and like conceptualized it.
The way they got the modal pop-up window there for the box to like show up approximately where you're clicking to was pretty cool. The intention was obviously to have it like under the cursor, but it didn't quite pan out that way. But it's they still got it pretty close. Like it was a pretty cool it was pretty cool in that regard.
Is this all? And it's all just is it just saving all of these things to like? It's just in the window. So if I refresh this, it'll all be gone.
I think so. Yeah.
But still, a really cool project. Like I'm super impressed every time that I see one of these apps that I'm like, man, if somebody built this out a little bit more, like if we had a team of students to just take these and like bring them to the next level, it would just be super cool.
Indeed.
Okay, so yeah, that's AutoAgenda. So I'll go back over to hightechu.github.io/portfolio. We're 12:48 now, so you're just coming in. We got 5 viewers on the call still doing pretty good. If you have got any questions or comments or concerns or anything you're wondering about, you can feel free to send it in the chat. I don't think, you guys still can't see my... good, you can't see the new screen that I've gone to. So it doesn't look like there's a lot of other chat things there. No other questions that have popped up. So yeah, we're here with Danny Briggs. Danny is a mentor with HighTechU and works for the Greater Victoria Public Library as a system administrator. We're just looking at some of the past projects that were completed through HighTechU. And I guess I threw Danny on the spot. So now it's my turn for like the favorite project. Okay, so pick, right? It is hard to pick. I mean, like I really like, so these two, like AutoAgenda and Meat Maps are kind of like a cool thing that I'd love to see put together. So basically Meat Maps was built in this cohort, and the idea, and I think like it's broken right now, a lot of them are, just because there's little bugs that show up. But basically the focus of Meat Maps is if you have a friend who you are looking for a place to hang out, and you want it to be like an approved teen-friendly location, you can basically go in here, create an account, register a location, and then it will... Maybe I have to go in here and actually create an account. Oh, that's not the one I want. So let's do Andrew at hightechu.ca. Let's see if this one hides my password. It does, HighTechU. That's my username. My default address, I think, needed to be like latitude and longitude. So latitude, longitude. And I think you can just grab that from, let's see if this actually, let's see what happens when I put in this into a Meat Map. Register. Did it find me? Oh, where is that showing me? Where am I located? Oh. It has me very much in Australia. Okay.
Oh, different Victoria.
But I don't think it's actually showing Victoria. I'm like Upper Nepean near Wollongong. I actually have been there before. Anyways, but yeah, so basically this map would show you if you had a bunch of friends that were in a group. Maybe, I don't think you can create groups either. Oh, no, you can. And then, and you can invite users, and then basically it'll show you, depending on where you're located, it'll show you like the best location for you to meet up, and it ties into Google Maps, so it's kind of cool. But just kind of a cool application that allows for you to identify places that you can go and hang out. Anyways, I thought it was good. And if you combine that with like Meat Maps, you could find like a time to go hang out, and then also a location to go hang out, and then I could make my first $1 million along with a number of really talented youth. Okay, so we are 12:51. We're approaching a little bit longer than bite size, but we do promise to keep these sessions bite size. Michaela, yeah, definitely some questions. Yeah, and I saw that you just responded there. Did you see the question from Lachlan?
I did, yeah. I was just typing up a reply, but I'll just answer out loud, I guess. So I don't act. So in the past, we GVPL developed a lot of software in house. Unfortunately, it's really hard to support that when you don't have a team of coders, which we don't have. So we're in the process of getting rid of a lot of, or trying to get rid of a lot of the in-house applications in favor of off-the-shelf software. That being said, one of the things that when this whole COVID-19 stuff blows over and we're in a better position for it, I do really think that the library is in a good position to be hosting co-op students or trying to get a position like that in play. So to answer your question, no, not right now, but hopefully one day.
Nice. Oh, awesome. And I'm going to go back to our view here. So, yeah, those are so great questions today. I'm super pumped that people are on these calls. Please keep telling your friends about these calls or about these streams. We're super excited to do these. And this is kind of interesting for us. It seems that Wednesday is the day right now. Wednesday is the day to make these kind of connections. Which is good. Lots of people on the call. But if you've got feedback on like things we can do better, if there's better times, maybe noon isn't a good time for these calls, or maybe there's a better way to communicate these, then definitely let us know, because we're really interested in having more people on the streams. And we're going to upload all of these streams to our YouTube channel. So there'll be like a channel that or a playlist that will be all of these live streams. So if you want to check that out, you'll be able to, and all of our things from Twitch and Periscope and all the rest of that. We also will be moving all those up online. And actually, you can find our first Tech Bytes workshop is actually up on YouTube right now. I'll just quickly go back to the screen share and I'll pull that up. So that's not the right window. But if you look here, if you go to YouTube, HighTechU. We don't have enough followers right now to have like a /HighTechU, but if you search for HighTechU, you can find us here. So we've got obviously our most recent video, which is a pretty awesome video that was recorded by some of our friends at a local streaming startup, or a local startup focused on video production. I gotta say, I really don't like this video because I just shaved and I'm looking a little bit greasy. But the important thing is not me, it is actually the playlist. So if you come over here, you can see Tech Bytes episode 1, launching your first website, is here. So that was our own staff and GitHub campus advisor, Dominique. Like I said, this afternoon in just over an hour, we're going to be having Tech Bytes episode 2, which is presented by the White Hatter, and we're super excited to be working with them. Obviously, if you've been on this call, you've been here with let me go. Big guest with Danny Briggs. Danny, you're big on the screen again. There we go. And myself, Andrew. I am the co-director of HighTechU, co-founder. Danny is one of our rockstar mentors, part of the HighTechU program. You've been here at Q&A Corner, tech questions answered daily as part of our Tech Bytes online series in this crazy COVID situation that we are all dealing with right now. Please, everybody, make sure that you're staying safe, you're staying healthy, and most of all, you're always continuing to learn from all of us at HighTechU, from me, from Danny. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully you'll be able to make our session in just under an hour to learn how you can leverage social media. Thanks so much, Danny.